pledge to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is whole thing.
That's plan. Yep, that's plan.
Okay, welcome. Can you tell us who is on the calls?
I can.
Okay.
Just letting you know in. We have Matt Chedlink, of course, our village engineer. We have Michael Davis. We have Norm. We have Judy. They do not have their videos on. Could you?
Close the door. Yeah.
And if you are not speaking or being spoken to, could you turn your microphone off? Michael Davis, can you put your video on? Norm, could you put your video on? Judy, it does not appear that you have a video. That's what we got done.
Okay. First order of business is a public hearing, which is in place of the public hearing that we did not have last month for amending the village code in regarding to pickleballs and moving our existing restrictions on the placement of tennis courts into this same chapter, which we believe will make it more accessible for people trying to construct tennis courts. I will open as we said we would do at the previous meeting where this was discussed, we said we would put on the website a package of material dealing with pickleball noise and the problems it's caused and some of the remedies that have been implemented, as well as the recommendations of the noise consultant that we did hire. And we also put in a revised copy of the code. With that said, is anybody here who wants to speak on it? I'll do it in the room first, and then we will go to remote. But is there anybody here who wishes to comment on this legislation? None. Is there anybody on the call that wishes to make any comments? Michael, identify yourself, where you live, and
Good afternoon, Michael Davis. I'm a resident of Sagaponic. At the last meeting, I think there were 3 requests to have some sound engineering done on the viability of sinking a pickleball court 6 feet and what sound attenuation that might bring. And I missed it in all the documentation that was sent out, but it seems that wasn't considered. And the point I'm trying to make is that if somebody has a big enough lot for a pickleball court and it's of no real inconvenience to a neighbor, that if there's a way that court can be 30 feet off the property line and not be in the middle of their backyard per se, I thought it was worth exploring. And so I'm a little disappointed, unless I'm incorrect in stating what I just said, that we didn't get a sound engineer to do that study.
If you had read the material that is in there, it doesn't matter how deep you go. What they say is what is really necessary to bring the noise from a pickleball court down to what they believe is an acceptable level requires a sound barrier of 10 feet above the grade of the pickleball court. So if you went down 6 feet, you still would need a 4-foot fence around it. If you went down 10 feet, you wouldn't need anything around it. And that's all in these studies that are on there. So
Right.
if you would like to us to include in here that where the building inspector has the discretion to use the alternate materials rather than a wooden fence. We could also give him the discretion to take into account the height or depth of the court in terms of the fencing required. And if you don't want a fence at all, you can go down 10 feet.
Well, you have to have a fence anyway, just to stop
Well,
people from falling in it.
But
As we do with some tennis courts, we have a minimum of 4 feet.
so
Like-
then that would permit you to have a 4-foot fence barrier around it and go 6 feet deep.
Well, I think that would be definitely preferable.
Okay, when we adopt the resolution, we'll incorporate that into it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just curious.
Identify yourself, please.
Oh, Yoram Shemesh, 52 Scottline Drive. I read all the documentation. And and you just mentioned the 10-foot fence. So, and I also one thing, I have a few questions. One is, you had said what's acceptable. What is acceptable as far as the decibel level to a property line? Has anyone determined that? Is it 50?
If you had read what you said you read, you would know that they consider down to 40 decibels suitable for this kind of environment, and that anything over 50 decibels is on a continuing basis is going to be an annoyance.
Okay. Well, I also looked at a listing, and it's regardless if it's pickleball or any sport. I'm not just specifically talking about pickleball, but conversation is at 50 to 55 decibels. I'm not sure if anyone knows that.
Well, if you're 3 or 4 feet away from the person speaking.
Yes, yes. So, but I also read with the company AcoustiFence that they've done numerous studies, and 10 feet past the AcoustiFence, if you're on the outside of the AcoustiFence, it drops down from what they've seen, an average of 65 decibels for pickleball. Then other sports have different levels, and then every 10 feet, as you go further, as you double that, it drops down 5 to 6 decibels. It's called the inverse square law. I don't know if anyone knows about it, but the inverse square law says that if you're 10 feet away, and let's say it's at past the AcoustiFence, it's 55 decibel levels. If you go 20 feet away, that drops down by 6 decibel levels, and if you double that to 40 feet away, it drops down again. So
I say, and I know what the actual measurements of these were from various distances that are cited in the material you read.
yeah. Okay, so you, but I'm just curious with the AcoustiFence.
So I'm saying that even with some of the provisions we have in this code,
Mhm.
unfortunately, we are not going to be able to get a decibel reduction of lower than 50 decibels in some cases.
Okay. I'm not sure how that came about, but if that's what you you deem it to be.
Hey, Andrew.
Good, how you doing?
Somebody is not muted. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak?
This gentleman here.
Apologize. Mark Haskell.
Mark, could
Where do
go
you
to the
live?
podium?
Oh, sorry.
Because then they can see you.
You get into camera range.
I live in East Hampton, but I'm on behalf of a couple of Sagaponic Village
Who
clients.
identify?
Albert Bialik is one,
Yes.
and a couple others that I just have asked me not to disclose names, if I apologize for that. My question,
Sir, could you say your name again, and if you're a resident or
Sorry,
a
yes, I
business, or what the
apologize.
business is, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mark Haskell,
Mhm.
I live in East Hampton, real estate agent at Saunderson Associates,
Thank you.
and here on behalf of a couple of clients who are village residents. The question on the decibel level, and I apologize if I missed it in the material, is this level that's been defined as what is an acceptable level of having to be below that level. How does that compare to what is the current decibel level of a tennis court without the additional acoustic abatement material, I guess, is the question.
Again, we incorporated much of that into this, but it's estimated that noise at the source from a tennis court is about 50.
Just trying to draw a comparison as far as that and the questions obviously that are arising. And that's with, and even though with new tennis courts, that it's also asking for, some noise abatement as well beyond what was previously the standard.
Yes, but there we have made the accommodation since their tennis court fences are only 8 feet high, they can have 8 foot,
So they can have what, I'm sorry?
they can have 8-foot barriers.
Right, so there's something in addition to the fence that would be required, there's additional,
So you mean the chain link fence?
Right.
Yes.
in addition to that, whether it's sunken, as we talked about, or
Depending on its distance
correct.
from the property.
Thank you.
Is that noise coming from?
Oh, it's at the counter.
Well, lock them up.
Employees.
Actually, it's a resident.
Oh, it's a resident.
Oh,
Okay, if there's no further comment from the floor, is there any comment from any of the board members?
No.
Can I get a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for your input. Moving on to the regular business.
What's all this?
The lot line modification on the Topping Horse Farms are reported last month. Is going to be conditional upon a definite commitment from the town to acquire 8 acres there of the horse farm as for agricultural use. The attorneys are supposed to be drawing up some papers that will allow us to do that as soon as the town does make that commitment. The town has made an offer, that offer has been accepted. There's a lot of paperwork to be done but I would imagine, and I was told it would probably take another 2 months to dot all the i's and cross the t's. But the attorney for one of the principals in the top of the transaction is aware of what we need and what our timetable is going to be.
Well, it's positive news to hear where they're still going forward, and it'll be a wonderful thing to have preserved.
It supposedly is a done deal, but
Yeah, well,
we,
paperwork takes forever. We know that.
same thing on Nairi McCrae's lot line modification. We are still waiting for the paperwork. We need 3 documents: a conservation easement and then 2 covenants to go, one with each of the 2 new lots that are being reconfigured. And the attorney for Nairi McCrae has been advised of this, but she seems to need more guidance on this. So Rhodey, would you please give it to her? And she seems to be hoping that our attorney will do the work for her. That's not going to happen.
He's laughing.
We're listening, I think.
The Hucklehoven site plan review as one, we just got the engineering report on it in the file, and it's extremely technical. It's way beyond me to figure out exactly what they're doing. And from your report, Matt, it seems to be pretty much beyond you too. And you report deficiencies of their plans, incongruities between one consultant's plans and another consultant's plans. And you outlined, I think quite clearly, particularly in your notations in red on your appendix of what needs to be resolved. And applicants can be informed, be given that report, and hopefully they will be able to answer all your questions by the next meeting.
So,
Do you want to just summarize your?
yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. They did address all of the engineering concerns as far as regrading the site and drainage issues. The concerns that we had were the engineering plans, which are the plans that we were kind of basing our review of the engineering and grading. Those plans don't necessarily match up with the architect's plans as far as like where certain drainage is being proposed. It's different on the architectural plans, which were submitted for review. There are areas where the engineering plans have like little lawn grates to pick up drainage. But on the architect's plans, those plans show a tree in that area. There is a difference with Michael Hemmer's survey on the edge, on the western edge of the driveway, where there's a proposed small swale. On his plan, it shows that that's in a vegetated area where the trees are. I'm not so sure that that's the case, but it's all these minor things that really, even though there's a lot of red ink, I feel like at the end of the day, the village should have a clear plan package that all the plans kind of align, they match up. You know, the engineer's plans show drainage in all these different areas. If the architect is showing that drainage on his plans, it should be the same. It shouldn't be different. So that was the main concern. I don't know that it's something that requires, another month. Maybe the board could approve the site plan subject to a resubmission of, some cleaned up plans. Because I don't think engineering wise.
I'm not gonna recommend that. This work was all done without permission, with any oversight, and I think they have wait another month.
Okay,
You also, I do want to point out that at the meeting, they said there would be no more recontouring. And yet when their placement of their meditation pit, there is going to be I don't think it's going to be any net change, but they still will be sinking part of that into the side of the hill. When if they just would relocate it 10 feet to the north, they wouldn't be needing to do that. But so, I mean, I think they should clean up their plans and explain why they're doing something that we thought they weren't going to do. And then we can approve it.
okay.
But I'm just one person here. How do the rest of you feel?
John, I just also want to bring to your attention, which was not in your packet on Monday when I sent you this information. The building inspector did look at these plans, and the 4+4+, there's 2 retaining walls over 4 feet. Our code does not allow a 4-foot retaining wall. If you're over 3 feet, you need a variance. So that was something that he has found after he reviewed it, which is in your packet. I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
So what does that need from the regulatory point of view? Can we grant or do we have to have the CBA do
We can grant it
it? Okay,
They can't get a building permit until they rectify, either drop that wall down or apply for a variance for those 2 walls.
correct.
So do you want to hold off till next month?
Absolutely, I don't think we should modify that at all.
Okay,
The applicants are here, Don, representatives, if you.
do you wish to say anything? Can you help resolve any of these questions?
I'm here, so I might as well say hello. Good afternoon, Mayor, Board. My name is Jamison McWilliams, Charles McWilliams Law Group at 10 Cantigo, East Hampton, here for the applicant, Hucklehoven. We did receive the reports, marked up exhibit about 2 hours ago. So I agree in that, luckily I agree with Mr. Jedlicka's statement. There was a lot of red ink. We were getting very nervous. It does look like a lot of it is housekeeping. So we will, but unfortunately we can't make those changes and have had time to resubmit. The walls were addressed, the height. It did say in the report, the building permits, we were not aware of the necessity for variance. So we're gonna have to work on that as well. So I don't think I have any other comments or any useful information at this point, except we have received your comments and we will hopefully be able to address them quickly and resubmit for next month.
Mayor, just said, I do think that that's Mr. Glazer's presentation is correct, that Mr. Warren's report was that it was largely in conformance with the expressions of the board at the last hearing. And these are really conformance issues on the multitude of paper that's here. The board would prefer, to add one conformed copy, one set that can be approved to be officially entered into the record.
I understand. Yeah, I was happy when I saw Mr. Warren's report.
Yeah.
Great. I'll see them in an hour. But we have,
He's
there's
in Florida, so
Lucky
he'll be
him.
feeling. very
Yeah.
well.
Vitamin C was.
we have, some very talented consultants, and they're all very good in doing their specific job, and everybody's very busy. So I think, we missed the last step of making sure, that last final review. It's a little bit beyond my expertise, but I will nail everyone down on that before we, waste your time.
Thank you very much.
And can Rhodey give you the date of submittal for the next meeting?
Sure, yes, please.
Sorry, Rhodey. No, that's all right.
I know it's around.
She turned, so I knew she was looking.
So it's the 8th and the 15th.
Right, so I need the paperwork by the 25th. Okay. 2 weeks.
2 weeks before the meeting, June, what's the June meeting?
It's June 8th.
June
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Good afternoon, everyone.
You need a motion to,
Adjourn.
until next week, I mean, next month.
To June 8th.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's not really all the business we have to conduct, so we'll move on to the regular work session. As far as I know, we don't have any minutes.
That is correct.
I'm sure we will by next week. We have the reports on what we're going to be getting for, please. Carrie?
Well, yeah, everything's pretty much going along as usual. There were 54 traffic stops, and last month there were 55. There was an arrest on April 12th, a traffic stop. Coxabog Lane and Montauk Highway, an adult arrest. And I've ever seen a mental situation on Daniels Lane.
First one that's been caught.
Was that?
First one that's been caught.
All right, there you go.
First apprehension.
Actually, I think they have been so, but anyway, it's nothing any different than usual.
Okay. So if anybody has any, if you got any questions, you can post them to Carrie next week.
And just so you know, I am still attempting to get that meeting set up. The chief is still out on medical.
That's
So
that meeting.
I am still working on it.
Okay.
Did you like that? Yeah.
That's why I sent you the email.
What is that for?
It's under the IMA that we have for the town of Southampton for the sector part of it here. There is a meeting that, actually 2 meetings that are supposed to happen over the year before the season and after the season.
Okay.
We don't really do the after the season, but we certainly do the before the season.
Yeah.
And
With the chief family, what is he called? The duty sergeant.
well, it's the sergeant that's in charge of the scheduling the part-time.
Actually, there was another change. I just realized the burglary alarms were 20 in April and 12 in March and February and 11 in January. So that was up by a third. Almost a half. Most of them probably false.
Phil, any update on the chief might be available?
Thursday or Friday of last week, he still is not back, but he would be willing to, have he didn't say Zoom, but he would be able to call in. But I'm still waiting for, I suggested actually tomorrow or Friday, but That's not happening. Yeah, I was thinking, no, I know, that was last week. That was before Friday. So stay tuned. I'm still working on it.
Okay. Um, You see what we're gonna get on our chips money. It looks like we're getting less than last year, but actually last year was 2 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a rollover. That's correct, Don. So these are pretty much going forward what we'll get. They're actually up a little bit. This year, there was no increase, although they asked for it in chips, so that's what we would be getting. So this money's, when I get into paperwork for the Hedges Lane, I'll apply for this, I think it's in August.
Hedges Lane repaved. It looks like they put down the yellow stripes today, and we're about to do the white ones, but I don't know if that'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, I actually took a ride.
They're going on.
I think they're doing it now, right?
They are.
Yeah, well, as we were
Driving
driving
to the
down,
meeting,
they just,
yeah.
they're starting by Sextor.
I would like to say, I think that the contractor that has been used on both Janice Lane and Hedges Lane has done a much better job than the contractor that did Sag Main Street.
Two different contractors. Parsons was done by Rosemar. Rosemar did Daniels, Hedges, and Parsonage.
We practiced on Parsonage.
We did.
There were some ankle breakers in Parsonage on the edges.
Well, that's because it was done a little differently.
Live and learn.
And it wasn't widened.
The big rock on the corner of Hedges by the new
I
drain.
was gonna ask about that.
Yeah,
Is that a new rock? It's painted, they sprayed it green, so.
with
it's
the green grass. I wonder if the owner of that house in the corner put that out for some reason, because it's.
Brasher's house?
Yes,
Yeah.
You put a rock out there?
there
Oh,
is a
yeah.
rock now, so that if somebody cuts their turn too much, they're gonna
Ram into it?
ram
Oh,
with
yeah,
the
it's a
rock.
good one.
How big is it? How high? How tall?
It's only about 18 inches high. at the
Oh,
most.
Yeah,
so
but
it's
it will
about
do
4
damage.
feet or something.
Yeah, no, but it will do damage to someone's fender, definitely.
Well, they still have to take the brick because they did the corner there with the leftover.
They finished
And
that.
there's still a pile there, so I have to get that pile taken away. So I'll just have
I
to take that.
think, I don't know what,
That rock should not be there. It's just a different-
How's our little triangle of grass doing?
I
it-
think they're good,
uh,
although I think
It's-
they did get run
I
over.
can't
but-
tell with the green spray.
Yeah, they sprayed the grass.
But obviously, there's been some incursions
Yes.
by
Already.
motorists.
Yeah.
And it's just so amazing. You go along Hedges Lane now, and it's as if nobody,
Cares. Well, it's ironic because it's the landscapers who are supposed to be caring for the lands. They're the worst offenders because they're just.
They pull their
Pull
Where else are
vehicles
they gonna park?
In the driveway.
supposed to.
Many of these people have 2 driveways.
Okay.
So, well, that's the same whole thing about on Gibson, the French drain. It's a landscaper heaven. I mean, I'd say once a week I see one with part of an edge of a tire into it, and it's just a mess. And I don't know how we train people not to do this, but it's kind of scary. That might be helpful to bring up in the police meeting, Carrie and Don, about training landscapers when they are in those situations and park there all day. Or leaving their trailers all day
It'd be
in.
nice if
Yeah.
up on duty,
We've had.
as he drives around town
Yeah.
and sees somebody pulled up on the verge with their vehicles, or now they're like trains with different cars. And tell them that it's a violation.
The part-time police officers were the ones that come in. So I have to say the full-time police officers that used to be part-time police officers here will come into the office. But the full-times that haven't, I don't see them. They just, sometimes they don't even take the car out.
Well, that's one of the things we want to
Yeah.
talk to the chief
Yeah,
about.
which supposedly there's 14 part-timers that came out of the academy are now being trained. So they should be on the schedule starting in June. So.
So you
hopefully-
want to see the people come in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the chief knows that, and so does the sergeant. We've already had that discussion with them. Just stop in, say hello, find out if there's any issues that need to be addressed, and then go on your merry way.
Yeah.
So it's not like they have to hang out here.
They aren't used to having any interactions with the public.
Yes.
I think Mark Weiss was, the police officer, was one of the few that actually would walk into the school regularly and
Yeah.
get to know the kids by their name.
Mhm.
But I don't think any of the other ones have, just from the, whatever, the
Yeah.
stuff my granddaughter says. But initially, that was a nice touch. It was just something
I
that,
think the new officer, Mark Testa, would do that. We met him the other day, I think,
Yeah.
Don.
he
So,
might,
but he may not have been
He's
instructed
the
to
guy
do
who
so.
was the city cop.
Marcus was, he did come from the city, yeah, that's right, he was here the other day.
Very professional.
Yeah.
you saw the signs all over the school property. They're doing an event at 1:30 on Friday,
Mhm.
an ice cream social for the community where the kids will read out loud what they've written.
Right.
And anyone can come.
Mhm.
So it might be good to heads up who's ever on Fridays. I don't know what the schedule, you're better at that. It might be nice to have some help down there because the signs are really clear about the free ice cream and come to our school, and it's outside the whole thing, of course, but
Okay, I will let you know.
but it's
I'm not sure
1:30
what's on.
and I haven't removed those signs. I will add, I've been
couple
removing
fell
other
over.
signs.
Couple fell over in the wind.
Yeah, the wind's been horrible, you're right. But it was a nice gesture of them inviting the community, and I thought that's cute.
Nice. Okay, got it, I'll let them know. Okay.
We're on business. Schedule an year fiscal meeting. When do you want to do that? When is the fiscal year end? May 30?
Well, you, John, are going to be away on the 27th, is that correct?
27th of what?
Of May.
No,
You're gonna be here.
or something. Yes.
Okay, so I had that, you were going away that
What
week.
is the date?
27th is a Friday.
Memorial weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that soon?
Yeah. Oh, crazy. I have on my calendar, which I left on my desk, what I wrote it in here, that you are gonna be away that week of the 23rd.
I'm back on Thursday.
Oh, okay, all right. So we can either do it on the 27th, or we can do it on the 31st.
Uh,
Friday and Memorial Weekend's a tough time to do it.
So then we can do it on the 31st.
Okay,
Yeah,
is that's a Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday. Yes, we're closed on Monday. It's Memorial Day. So
I've
it would
gotta
be on
check the
Tuesday.
Calendar. I think that's fine.
Okay, 10 o'clock,
Close
because
the
I need
books
to close
for
the
the
books out
financial year.
afterwards, so it can't be late in the day.
Okay, 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, okay with everybody? Okay, so that'll be May 31st at 10 a.m. Okay,
Sounds good.
and Brian, you don't need to be here.
Okay.
What do we
I
call
mean,
it?
unless the mayor,
The
you don't.
Fiscal year.
It's
You've
the
never had
annual
the-
financial meeting, which where we
You never had that.
juggle around
We
the
Move money.
books. And we're not allowed to have overspent
Mhm.
in any category in the budget. And if we have to move money from accounts that are underspent into the accounts that are overspent.
Right.
This is all just.
Just
let's
closing
take
the
on
books.
pay.
And then the monies that, the excess revenues
Well,
that
we
we
also
have
appropriate our surplus if we have it.
into the reserve accounts.
We usually do have some.
Okay, assembly permit applications, we aren't gonna vote on them today. So
I think that's his wife.
I wouldn't have expected a lot of Italian song like that, you know.
San Luis
Oh my
Obispo, California.
Ah,
This
oh.
place. Junk. Okay, so Carrie, we'll let you get this done next week.
Yeah.
If you want to
We
get it
can
done.
do,
I mean,
chat about it now and vote on it next week, or chat and vote next
That's what
week.
we usually say.
Either way, Don, it's
Voting.
been. we've
I wanna
done
get it over
Voting,
with.
voting
Let's
next,
talk.
Let's
let's talk,
voting yet next week,
Yeah.
definitely.
definitely.
Okay.
Okay, the first one is the Sagaponic Horse Show, for July 20th. I guess that's a Saturday. You know that?
I thought it was a Wednesday always.
Wednesday.
Oh,
It's always a Wednesday.
okay, I stand corrected.
That's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yep.
At the horse farm from 7 AM to 6 PM. They're gonna have like 100 vehicles, but they are housed in the horse paddocks on the property. They have a loudspeaker, which we can hear from here, but they don't talk that much.
No, they don't.
They're
longstanding
They've had it
tradition.
forever. I don't know how many years. Then they want to do it again on August 10th, 6:30 to AM to 6 PM. Again, the same scenario.
I'd like to request that they don't have the loudspeaker until after 7 o'clock.
I don't think they do.
No, they start.
Events are going on.
No, they started early in the morning talking. He's right. They start before 7 AM, sometimes talking to people, setting up and stuff like that. They don't need to use it until. the
Okay, so
event
then
starts.
they can,
They can do the old fashioned, hey you.
so 7,
Yeah,
after 7 for the loudspeaker.
yeah. But the one they don't open till 7, this other one opens at 6:30.
6:30.
Okay. Got it.
August
So
10th to
August,
6:30.
got it.
And then I guess there's a gala, Long Island Gala, August 6th. Now,
Is
that's
that-
probably a Saturday,
Is
right?
that Mizell?
That is, yes.
At the sculpture field on Hedges.
Oh.
On August 6th, 59 Wilkes Lane, I guess, 5 PM to 7 PM. There'll be a tent and porta potties and 150 people. A microphone, 50 to 60 vehicles, but parked on Wilkes and I guess some on Hedges, but Rhodey's gonna speak to somebody about directing parking.
Right, I have already spoken to the gentleman who dropped this off, who's in charge of this. And I told them that they can't park on both sides of the road on Wilkes because we have an issue with a cul-de-sac and emergency vehicles getting through.
And both sides of the hedges either.
Right, so I will go down and look at it and see where on Hedges, and now that we just did Hedges, I'm not sure what's,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
it'll be syncing up to
Yeah.
the wheel rooms.
I mean, this is August, so hopefully everything will be stabilized by then, but we'll see.
Might not
I think
And
the valet parker is gonna be, should be required.
Well, he told me that they are going to get one, but when he put this paperwork in, they haven't gotten anybody yet. So we didn't have the name of the person, but if they don't, then they have people that will park the residents, because I told them, I said, because it will be, they'll park wherever they want, they won't listen, because that's just gonna happen, that's what's gonna
I
happen.
think we
So-
should approve that. Subject to a
Valet.
valet parking service.
And this is not the Mizell's event, but they are letting them use their property for the event.
The Mizell's property is the
This
sculpture
is the
garden.
sculpture garden. And the house next door. Yeah.
And there'll be a 3-piece jazz trio, which will be low key.
Sure, they all are. Okay, and who is this benefiting?
This.
The LARCAG people.
Yeah,
Need to look it up, you know what it is.
Well, they are something to do with special needs children, right?
It's adults.
Adults. Okay,
It's adult home. This particular event is going to
towards a second home.
benefit the renovation of a second home. I believe it's in Riverhead. The first one's in Riverhead. I think that's where the.
Oh,
second
like a
one
group
is.
home, I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly. Yes.
And
for
also
adults, yeah.
the special, what do they call them? The kids that put on the skits.
Oh, yes, they're gonna be there as well. There's a name of that little troop.
East End Special Players.
And this organization originated in England, I believe, or France.
Most of our benefactors are over 40 years old. Okay.
okay. Meaning they aren't gonna get wild and drunk.
You never know. Wine will be
Sponsor.
served. Meaning they are. Wine is going to be served.
Okay, you want us to approve those?
We'll do that next week.
Yeah, we can do it next week.
I need to be authorized to sign the proposal for the upgrade to Municity 5 in the amount of $39,700, although I haven't seen the proposal.
I don't know what this means.
Well, this is basically the software for
Oh,
our building.
Okay.
and environmental inspections.
gotcha.
It's definitely worth it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and as I
It's
explained.
another
on
8,000.
our Budget discussions. They're no longer going to support the standalone program that we had. So we're either forced to do this or we were forced to get another program. So I think it was prudent to go to a completely
What
different
are
program.
the other
Program.
functions, applications of this program that we don't use?
This has the ability to allow John to take like a laptop, an iPad out in the field and be able to access the documents and electronically enter or look at information that he's out in the field that we
God
have
help
here.
us, let's let.
It's an option, John, it's an option. So we'll get used to this one first before we delve into that, but this one does have that option. It's got a lot more options that we don't need. So that's why you'll see some of the, if you read through that proposal, I gave them a list of things that we do. So this is what they honed it down to, that these are our needs. We don't have quickly out of my head, but it has the ability also to track like inspections, like if we had our own code enforcement, or we had our own fire marshals, or if we did inspections on seasonal rentals, if we did things like that, this program would track it and could be added on. It's modules that can be added on later on too.
Is this, we're purchasing the program, and what is the life expectancy?
Good question.
This is 3 years.
This contract is for 3 years. That's what
Okay,
we're
so
saying.
this is for
That
3
the con-
years.
It's the first year is the, you know, the
39.7.
lion's share of the money. And then the second year, there is the maintenance fees, and upkeep fees. And then they don't guarantee anything beyond 3 years as far as the money, so then I'm sure that's gonna be renegotiated out for money. It's a cloud-based program,
Well,
so the updates to the program are automatic, so that's what you're paying
They're
for.
all doing this, and it's such a ripoff
I
now.
agree, Don, because, yes,
so mad about it.
I was kicking and screaming. They asked me to do this 2 years ago. And I said, I'm not doing it because I've already purchased this and it's working fine. And then it came to the point where they're not supporting this.
Right,
anymore.
they won't let you.
No.
That's so.
No, they won't support it.
Exactly.
Um,
Now they can Photoshop it to yearly fee. and it's-
It's terrible.
Yep.
QuickBooks is doing the same thing.
Yep, so I ran the same thing with QuickBooks, Don. Yep, did the same
This
thing
year.
there.
Our
Yes.
funds are the same thing.
Yes.
It's still, they are
This is
using,
your old QuickBooks.
you're still allowed to do it on desktop
Mhm.
for another year, but then it's gonna all be
Mhm.
cloud-based and
Yeah.
new. And it's
I
gonna cost
tried
like
to not get it.
$1,000 a year.
And then I realized they didn't have the support for the payroll, so I was like, ugh.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, that was bad. I had to get it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Are there any alternatives?
to what, QuickBooks?
No.
Or
Well,
Unicity?
QuickBooks, I don't think there are any alternatives to Unicity. Are there any?
I'm sure there are alternatives, but are they just, the standalone, or are they all cloud-based? I don't know, I didn't look into it, Don, to be honest with you. This is the program we use. East Hampton uses the same one. So I asked them, they went to this as well. They
They're rich.
But they went to it, Sag Harbor, when Sag Harbor got Unicity, they actually did it on the cloud base. They didn't get they didn't buy
The
program,
desktop.
the desktop. So they force you into
We ought to all get together.
Or,
matter, but
So you
So
need that
then we
this
don't
week?
need a copy to our server anymore.
it's all, and I did talk to IT before like I said, I was not happy about this at all. And I said, well, how does that protect our information? And because right now, all of the stuff on our server is backed up to
We
Southampton.
can still do that.
Yeah, and he said that it's much better in his IT lingo, that this, because I showed him this whole thing, and he said it's much more secure than I can ever make your documents, because it's a bigger, they're a bigger company.
Yeah,
They have
And
more.
it's easier to hack and to
Well, that's what I was
pay
thinking, Don.
ransom.
But he said that they have their security is more costly, and they can do it because they're a bigger company.
And what about that malware type of insurance that, I'm saying the wrong word.
Cyberware.
That's cyber, yeah.
We did not get it.
Right, and are we gonna have to get it with this new program?
Well, I did ask that question as well, and our IT guys last year recommended that we get it. We can always get it, we can always add it on.
You can always add
But
insurance.
that's
Yeah.
after.
But we don't have it, right?
But if we're still backing
But
up
the
to our
question-
server,
The question,
we should be able to recreate
Mhm.
in the event of any
Right.
thing.
Right.
We should be able to reload our programs.
Right.
And
that was what Don and I discussed, is what is our liability or our exposure, and what would we have to recreate? And we don't take in any, the only funds we take in are cash and checks. So we don't have any credit cards, other than with the tree committee, but it's not on any of these programs.
Mhm.
So there's no exposure there, and everything that would be lost could get recreated because we back it up. So this cybersecurity insurance pays for the IT people to recreate your documents. And we figured that, maybe on the outside, $10,000 to have that done. So that's why we didn't go with it, right, Don? I think that was a conversation you and I had.
okay. So we are going to have to then make this a regular annual budget.
Yes, but it would be, well, we already pay for maintenance from Unicity in our budget. So it's actually, I think, gonna cost us a little bit, no, what is that? No, Here, is that what you want? Yeah, that's the cost of the, I think it was that spreadsheet that you had there earlier, shows the years out, year one, yeah. So these are the maintenance things. So it's not gonna be that much more than we pay right now, Don. Maybe $2,000 more. I think we pay about 3 right now, and we're saying about 7. So 5 and 6.
They'll give you a conversion credit.
Right, so that's what that is, that's this year. So then next year, we have a 5,865 is going to be the cost of that, and then 6,000 the third year. So
Page 18.
I think it's, keep going,
Okay.
I'm gonna say 2,800, Donna, 2,500 is what we pay right now annually.
It's not bad, it's just, I mean,
Yes, I agree.
it's,
I was not happy about it.
they, you know, $15,000 a year.
Mhm.
Gets cheaper to hire a human.
You're right, Don.
Hire what?
A human.
Oh,
Okay. Haven't we already done this?
No, this is
Or is
the.
this for the
Yeah,
appeal?
yes, so I have sent, for those that who do not know, we were served with our, with a lawsuit on Monday for the Petrillo ZBA decision. And I have sent it off to the insurance company, but don't think the insurance company is gonna cover this particular one for Petrillo. So this resolution, as you can see, says that the appointment of,
So, we can talk about it in public to a certain extent, I don't want to give, yeah.
right, it's just,
But just in general terms, I don't want to talk about insurance
Yeah.
coverage too much, but it's filed in federal court, very interestingly. To me, it is a garden variety Article 78. And Article 78 must be filed in New York State Supreme Court. Why is this in federal court? Only for the hook because the plaintiffs are from Texas, so you get a diversity of jurisdiction. It's an outside argument whether they even qualify to be there based on what the amount is, because it's really not an amount in controversy. So that may be an issue for dismissal, but for whatever reason, they filed in federal court versus state court, number one. Number two, insurance doesn't cover Article 78 because those are discretionary actions, semi-judicial actions.
This isn't an Article 78.
The way they drafted it's like an Article 78. They don't have any relief beyond an Article 78 request, which is odd.
Okay,
Fun.
at any rate, can I get a motion to appoint?
So I'm sorry, just to the mayor's point on that, just to close that gap. We are submitting to the insurance company and we will review whatever that determination is.
right, so that was sent to them, they should get it today. But if they say, no, your insurance doesn't cover this particular thing, then we need to get an attorney to do it. And since Anthony Pascas started with this with the zoning board, that was the recommendation to have him do it as well.
And Mayor, the resolution is drafted as that is conditional upon the determination.
Yes.
So I'll resolve it, motion it for today.
Can I get-
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If any of you are interested, his decision on Petrillo is really good reading.
I would like to read that.
It was fascinating.
Could you?
39 pages, but yes, I can forward it to you. For
email,
the ZBA decision for Petrillo.
yeah, that's, I would like to know that, sure.
Certainly.
Moving right along, amendment to
Let's do
the,
something about the municipality.
No, you can do that next week. This appointing Tony Pasca kind of better done today in case they tell me tomorrow, then he can start on Friday.
Lisa has resolved it.
Yep, I did, yeah, it's all done.
Have we done it?
Marilyn and we don't vote on it.
Okay, amendment to open meetings law to allow hybrid meetings. We have.
I
do have
apologize.
Something to.
Mayor, this is my fault. I forgot it. It's been a couple of days. I forgot that I had put it on the agenda. And I got the documents today from Brian and I didn't print them. So
We can do it next week.
after you give it to him
Let's
first.
do it next week. We have till the end of June anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
just,
I knew it was late to get it for today anyway. really,
yeah, so we do have a draft. I will send it to you for discussion for next week.
Preview of coming attractions, all this really allows is applicants and interested parties to attend by Zoom, and board members who are not here but who want to attend have even less rights than the public. because,
Right.
You can't say
You
anything.
can't say anything.
Correct, and they can participate if we needed a quorum, but they have to satisfy the extraordinary circumstance.
Oh, right, he's sick.
Right.
Can they participate acting as individuals?
Right.
They can.
Probably.
To
Yes.
vote?
Yeah.
Not as voting
Not to
members.
vote.
Not
Not as
a
voting.
member,
Right.
just somebody who
Has an opinion.
really
Is it-
dislikes something that the board is gonna do. Okay.
Do you want to set the public hearing for June, discuss it next week, and then set the public hearing for the June meeting? Because we have to adopt a section of the code to do it.
Yes, so it would be, let me just get my calendar here. So here we are today. If we do it at the June meeting, that means I have to advertise it on the 26th. So I can get it in on the 20th. So if they do it next week, I do still have time to advertise it on the 27th.
Well, we
Sorry,
know,
the 26th.
we know we want to at least have a discussion about it. We probably want to adopt it in local law. So if you look at the calendar, if we do that, why don't we set the public hearing?
Okay.
Just the public hearing is just to allow the authorization review conference. The second component, we have to adopt the policy and procedures by resolution. And that we can just do by
So
resolution.
would you recommend
after.
right now we set a public
Yes.
hearing
Yes,
for the
June.
work session in June?
Yes.
June 8th.
Which is
Yes.
June 8th.
Okay, can I get a motion to schedule a public hearing on amendment to the open meetings law? I don't, do we have an open meetings law?
well, it's to allow, in conjunction with the, in cooperation with open meeting law. So it's okay.
You know what section you put it in?
150 officers and employees.
Oh, yeah, that's good spot.
Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Financial,
And then chapter 152. Road.
I had some questions on the financials. And expenditures. Yeah. In our interfund transfers,
Are you under general fund?
I'm
John?
under the P and L for the year,
Okay.
budget versus actual,
Yep.
page 4.
Got it.
We have an interfund transfer of $375,000. What does that comprise?
Well, it would be the 275 we budgeted.
Right.
And let me. Because I can't remember, Don.
How much did you say?
Well, we know we transferred 275,000 to the highway fund, because we authorized that in the budget. And I'm wondering what the other 100,000 plus is.
I know what it is, it's CHIPS money. Let me verify that. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, Don, because
But
when the CHIPS money gets,
so why is it a transfer from the general fund? The other CHIPS money is
Because when they deposit the check, Albany deposits the check into our general fund checking account. Then they have to transfer, I have to account for that in the general fund.
Where does it show in the revenues then?
Under chips. Yes, see that under.
What page is that?
I'm
On the
trying-
first page.
Trying to get to the first page.
Oh, yeah, state aid chips, okay.
Okay, thank you, that answers the question.
Okay.
I wanted to raise one other thing, I've lost my agenda.
You want to go in exec for it? or-
No, just wanted to discuss at the moment. I had a call from Steve Probinder. Remarking, this is the way to put it, that with the easterly set of weather for the last couple of weeks, there's been significant beach erosion. And he thinks that it has eroded back to where it was before they did this beach nourishment program. And so he wondered what the village was doing about it. And I told him the same thing that we did the first time around, nothing. And he then said, well, can you find out what the town is doing or planning to do? And I said, you're the only person who's spoken to me
I got one more call on that.
about the erosion, and I frankly don't know. Bill, you could probably answer this, whether this is kind of transitory, that we've had a bad couple of weeks with severe east winds, and whether everything's going to build back up afterwards. I don't think anybody can give us an answer on that.
It will.
I did have one other call actually yesterday, Don,
From whom?
from
Always
a
does.
resident down on two properties on Town Line. So she's two in from Town Line Road and her.
Okay, not the one that we're gonna have to sue.
One next to her.
Who's ignoring the letter?
Yeah. So she had called to say that the dune was very eroded. Like it was an isolated incident, so I sent her over to the town to say, you know, to have them do
But I was
something.
wondering, who could give Steve Probinder an answer?
Town of Southampton,
But what department, where?
land
who is it?
management, land management,
Land management,
right. They will be able to,
so,
or the trustees,
well, that's what I
maybe
wondered,
the
Maybe the
trustees, I think.
trustees would be.
Yeah,
but who put together all these bond issues?
well, it was the town, I have the whole file, there. Not sure which
I
department it
mean,
was,
is there anybody who,
oversees it.
yeah, who administers
Good
it?
question, don't know. Because there's the district, they're all paying for that sand that was pumped
Well, I
on.
tried to tell Steve
Yeah.
to remind him that this wasn't just a village
Yeah,
initiative, that this was done by three communities, actually.
yes, yeah.
And they formed their own special
Mhm.
assessment district.
Yeah, it's yes.
But I don't know,
Through the town of
I don't know
Southampton.
what representation Sagaponic Beachfront has.
Seems to me Mr. Stillman was on
He was on the,
that list of people. But the other thing is that the Army Corps of Engineer, and Brian, I don't know if you know about that, they plan on replenishing the beach from
The
someplace
FEMA project.
all the way to Montauk. So I mean, we're in the
From
middle.
where to where?
Yeah, from Montauk to, I think, not Joe, the inlet by Babylon?
Yeah, someplace.
Yeah, Robert Moses Bridge.
What are they doing?
You go to the beach.
They're gonna do exactly what we did, which is pump the sand from the ocean and pop it onto the beach. Now, they supposedly started this, and are they starting in Montauk? Seems to me.
Parts of it.
I knew,
Yeah.
and there's something
Parts of
going
Fire.
on as part
Something
of the
right here
whole-
in July and August, Perfect timing.
It happened in Fire
Yeah.
Island, that's exactly what happened. They
So-
pumped in August and it was unbelievable.
I mean, I can contact the Army Corps to find out
Yeah.
whether or not they have any plans to put sand
It doesn't
here.
bother me. I don't go to the beach anymore.
The other guy too is,
Not July and August.
Arabian, what's his name, Arabian?
Oh,
Oh, Adam Tertulian.
Aaron Tertulian,
Oh,
yeah.
This was just a moneymaker for him.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got the right names, I think, to find out. But the,
Can you call
the,
Steve? and
the,
give him that
I'll
information?
talk to him. The, I did talk to him.
Oh,
But what has eroded is about half of what they replaced. It's not back to where it was before the replenishment,
that's what he told me.
but it's a good solid half of what was really working, especially down, I want to say, east of Peters Pond. The dunes down there were beautiful. I mean, there was double dunes and, you know,
Yeah.
and it had all been grassed in, fences in most of the places.
That's
And a lot of it's
been-
gone. There's a lot of it
And
gone.
it just happened in the last 2
In the
weeks.
last-
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying probably the last 3 weeks.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I was
It's the
down
ocean is
there maybe a month ago.
relentless going,
Beautiful.
what do they call
Yeah.
it?
It happened really quickly and
Yeah.
even in.
And I haven't been down to Saguenay to see what
If they got the sand.
east of Saguenay.
Hopefully it
That's
didn't
what
all
I-
go down
that's-
the Virginia. I should keep
There's
some of
nothing
it.
we as a village can do about it.
No, actually, I told him I was gonna call Scott Horowitz, see if he, from the trustees, see if he knew anything. If he didn't, he'll give me an answer anyway. So, you know,
But there
we
must
need to
have
find
been a
out.
group of homeowners.
Well, I would think it would be
Representatives from this area.
whoever,
Yes, they
whatever that tax district was
Yes.
for.
And it's still,
Somebody's
they're
gotta
still
be-
paying on it.
Yeah,
I don't think they're done paying.
No, they're not.
No, no, by any means.
it's done in 23, I think.
Yeah.
And it seems to me, I don't know, this was one of the questions I was gonna ask the trustees. It seems to me they were gonna make good on it. Whatever happened in 10 years.
I have the whole folder there that I have to look
They
at,
don't
so
have any money.
I can
I know.
pull it out and see what it says in there, because the whole contract, everything's in there.
Yeah.
But, you know, even if the useful life was gonna be up to 23, if anybody wanted to do anything in 23, they should be getting on it now.
Yeah, it's gonna be gone. I remember before, when they were first talking about doing this for this area, the outfit that was doing it had done one of the outer back, some of the outer banks. And they guaranteed it at the time for 10 years. And in 9 years and 18 months, the hurricane hit and wiped it all out. So they had to, I believe they redid it, you know.
So maybe that's if it's gone, maybe they
Yeah.
have to come back and put it.
I'm sure they have, whoever's doing it has insurance.
As well, but somebody's gotta pay for it.
I do have that folder in there, so if you need any
Well,
information.
you're on the. program.
Yeah, I will look, I'll take that folder
Okay.
and see.
Gotcha. John, do you also want to report to the board on the meeting on Friday?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, let me say a few words. This is, I have been working with the principals on the store. They first came to me last summer. And I had been urging them to get something before the boards so that we could take a look at it and give them some feedback, because it's a very complicated proposition. And they actually did have some plans in September, which are not that different from the plans that we're looking at right now, or have been asked to look at. And they are not making it easy for us. And I'll just, the problem is sequencing this between the three boards, so they don't get in an endless loop where they're going before one board
Right, I agree.
who says this, and then they have to go to another board that says that,
And then back.
and so forth.
Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons for this meeting, where at least give them a chance to make their pitch to all of us at one time. And what they're asking for is a lot. But on the other hand, this is probably the most important building in Sagaponack. And the reason it's important is because it houses the post office, which in my view, and I think in most of yours, is absolutely essential. I don't think Sagaponack would exist without it. It would be nothing more than a school district. So keeping the post office here, I think, should be one of our paramount objectives, if not our paramount objectives. And clearly, it needs some relief from its current situation, which is fairly untenable, partially of their own making, for adding these temporary mailboxes, which makes circulation extremely difficult. But they've had a tough time. As most of you know, the furnace has never worked properly, and sometimes in the winters, they're in there in earmuffs and gloves, waiting for somebody to fix it. And the space is not very efficient, and it's also not really enough. So we are extremely fortunate to have a purchaser who is 100% committed to maintaining the post office there, and is willing to put his money where his mouth is in terms of remodeling it so that it becomes up to date, and is getting more space. And you look at the plans, they're giving storage space in the basement that'll be served by an elevator. They, in conjunction with US Postal Service, redesign the interior. It will permit more mailboxes than we currently have. By the way, there's a waiting list of 300 people who want boxes in Sagaponack.
That probably don't live here.
I know that.
Yeah.
And we have 700 houses here, and we have 755 mailboxes. And
We have many people who have boxes that are taken away from actual residents.
And we have many
Yeah, too
people
bad.
who aren't actual residents who
Yeah.
want the 1192
6-2.
662 zip code, as well as people in what the real estate people call Sagaponack North. Are not really village residents either, but where their nearest post office. And this current plan will add about 150 or 160 more boxes, which will help in a layout which will make it much more accessible. So there is a fairly good story to be told in defense of the granting of variances. As many of you may know, when Richard Thayer bought the building and remodeled it, he had to get variances because he changed the footprint somewhat. And the zoning board of appeals did grant the requested relief, but at the same time impose a absolute prohibition on any further expansion of that building, which was already non-conforming in so many ways you cannot imagine. And I think, and I hope that a convincing case can be made for them to put aside that prohibition and grant some more variances that are realistic and absolutely necessary.
Who is this? The zoning board you're talking about?
We're talking about the CBA,
Yeah.
but they are one component in this that is going to have to be approved by the Architectural Review Board.
Mhm.
It's going to have to be preserved by the planning board and site plan review, where many of these issues will be raised. But in the end, because they've applied for an expansion of 160 feet, which is not a big deal. But there's a prohibition to adding 1 feet, so that's going to have to be done and justified. They are also asking for additional storage space of about 450 feet in this new attic that they're putting up. And in terms of usage, not for floor area ratio, but in terms of usage, that also counts as square foot expansion of the commercial space. And between the two of them, that adds up to more than 600 feet, which is more than a 20% variance. And that's going to be a tough sell. So just saying here.
A tough sell for what reasons?
Because the ZBA has to predicate its granting of variance on variances of that large.
Mhm.
It's got to be, you can tell.
Well, there's always exceptions to the rule.
Well, the exceptions is what percentage to the rule are you
Size.
asking for?
Is 20% too big?
Well, in this circumstance, when you have
Well,
people who
yeah,
want to
this is-
spend the money and do it right,
Karen, don't try and sell me. I'm just telling you what the problems are.
I'm just
You're
venting
welcome to appear before the ZBA and give your opinion.
because I happen to like it.
Well,
And I would be the hardest person in Sagaponic to like anything.
look,
being
I
done to
don't wanna
Sag's
go into
Store.
that right here. I don't want to go into the pros
No,
and
okay.
cons or the details. And I hope you don't open them up at this meeting. This is an informational meeting.
Mhm.
And the purpose of the meeting is to let the applicants in one fell swoop apprise all of the boards what their vision is, what their intentions are. And the boards are going to have to review them individually.
So there would be no fee, the format of the meeting would be no fee, no comments would be made.
No,
Is that what you're
Didn't
saying?
say
Open them
that.
up? Would you do
that I would hope that if any of the board members have any questions about what the plans say, about what they want, okay, that we ask them. And you can also ask them, you know, why? Why do you want to move the building back? Why do you want to raise the entire roof line in the rear? Why, whatever other questions you might have, specifically what the plans are saying, because they're quite complicated. And then if you ask them why, let them say why, but we are not going to, and I'm going to just give a statement. I don't know what the attendance is going to be on this by Zoom or other, that this is one of the rare instances where all three boards are going to be involved. And the sequence, the ZBA is the key that unlocks the door. Whatever is done there is going to have to be approved by the ZBA. Whatever recommendations and changes that the other boards can make recommendations and give rationales as to why they want things. But the ZBA is going to have to approve most of the stuff that's going to implement this. However, unless in some key respects, the Architectural Review Board will indicate that they're going to give a green light to some of the aspects of the plan that they're going to have to approve. It's going to require their approval. Moving the building back, relocating it. The AHRB is going to have to indicate to the other boards early on whether or not they are going to approve this. The other thing is altering the roof line and changing the visible mass, which is going to, if you look at the plans, you will see, if you compare the elevations, there's going to be a significant visual impact of this proposal.
From the north and south.
Particularly from the south, because there's no edge. And the AHRB is going to have to indicate, they're not going to be taking a vote or something, but we're going to have to get their chairman to report to the village board as soon as possible, whether or not there is a consensus on that board of possibly approving those. If they don't, if they aren't, then it's back to square one. There's no point going to any other boards. So we're going to ask the AHRB to weigh in on those two aspects. Things about the design, colors, all of that, they can haggle over and so forth, and it won't have any impact on either of the other two boards. The next step will be for us, the village board, to examine the expansion of the use. I won't go into that at the moment, but that is a biggie. Any decisions that are made in terms of altering either the building or its use, that's it. It's not conditional. It doesn't matter. It goes with the land. It doesn't, we are very fortunate to have this couple offered to do this.
Mhm.
And they too are committed to making a efficient, usable, and comfortable space for the post office. And they've bent over backwards in their plans to do that.
Mhm.
But some of their requests we have to be very careful about, particularly opening it up to outdoor seating and serving in the rear. Totally changing the use of that building. And they may have the most benign intentions in the world, but I'm not a native here, or I'm not even a local here, but I've been here, since I've been here, there've been 6 different operators of the SAG store. And these people, I doubt are gonna be here forever. So, but whatever variances are granted, both in terms of dimension and use, are gonna go with the building. And that's something we as a board have to consider. Do we want a Starbucks there? Do we want a town line barbecue there? Do we want something with, outdoor entertainment? I mean, but that's what allowing the use of that backyard for, and that's why we denied it to Pierre. We also denied it to Bob, whatever his name was.
Miranda.
I can't remember his name.
Miranda.
Yes, who wanted to do it. So, anyway, we'll discuss that at site plan review. And then recommendations will go from, if the HRB says, we're okay with it. Both of those two main things, pushback and raising the roof line. Fine, then it can go to the village board and we can look at it and give our input. In terms of the use expansion, we will have to approve that, is that correct?
Correct.
All right, but we don't approve anything, we just make recommendations to the CBA to make whatever recommendations, make whatever variances are necessary. I won't go into, I can't even enumerate, nobody can, and John has got to go over these with the fine tooth comb. I am going to ask, I've talked to Brian about this we were talking about earlier, about inviting Tony Tohill, if he would participate in this, as he was at the beginning with me discussing all this stuff. And Brian has agreed that he thinks it would be helpful if Tony could play a role here. So I will call and ask him if he will. He's already authorized as a, what is he, special counsel
Yes.
to work on projects like this, but I don't know if his help.
Can I ask a
will allow
question?
it. Sure.
Does the fact that they're tearing down the oldest part of the building have any issues with the ZBA and the architectural review board?
The CBA doesn't care.
Or whoever is
It's
there?
HRB. And, is it, they're gonna have to say, maybe historic, but there's no point in saving it. Because nobody sees it.
I want the wood.
I think some other people that would like to build things out of the wood
To
too.
tell you the truth, they reuse it.
Okay.
They're scouring the country right now to find
They're not getting
old
rid of
bronze
the old,
post office box.
they're not getting rid of the old post boxes, are they?
It was just saying they're scouring the earth to find more so that they'll be
The same,
just the same kind throughout.
for the newbies.
I think there are more
Well, they're looking for them.
in Merrill's barn.
Oh, they know about those.
Oh, okay.
It's good enough. No,
So the
that
format,
you know if you've read this thing.
Pardon me?
If you've read the plan,
Yes, I did.
they plan to use the attic to house Merrill's collection, which is nice, but there is no way on earth that we can allow them to allow the public to go there,
And why?
because it's not designed for public access. It's not secondary exits. There's no handicap access.
Well, that's what you have to tell them then, right?
Good. Yes, they have to be told that.
Yeah. If
And they
wanna
were
do
told
something.
that.
you can't
But they
have
want
public
to-
display like that without the handicap and all that.
So it's, but there's a husband and wife team. This is the wife's project. And this is a couple that is used to getting what they want. So that's what,
When is this meeting?
Friday.
Friday.
This Friday?
Did you guys not get your,
It's here? I
3
did, I
o'clock.
just don't remember.
So it was in, because I read the information, but I guess not body at that, I don't know why I
Yeah,
read
me too.
it today.
What time is it?
3 o'clock,
3 o'clock here?
Friday the 13th?
yep, this Friday, 3 o'clock.
All
You
the
can come by
boards
Zoom or in person.
and
So they're presenting from the table and we're sitting there then?
no.
No, the
We're
opposite, what are
sitting
we?
here,
Okay.
they are presenting as they present.
Mhm.
They can present there. Rhodey will try, as if any of you have tried to really look what's going on, having these in a attached notebook is very hard to be able to take one one existing elevation and look at it with the proposed elevation.
I don't get how they're gonna do the post office
Okay, that's next point, but this won't be done here.
unless they use those old ones where you turn the things around and you stuff them and then you turn it back around again. Because I don't see where the people are gonna get behind the mailboxes to stuff the
We're gonna
mailboxes.
stuff them from the front the same way they do with all the new ones we have.
That's what I just said.
Yeah,
So they're gonna have new ones only and not old ones.
no,
And so where are all the board, the zoning board and the HRD?
Yeah, where are they gonna be? At this
Yeah, in
table?
this,
in this room.
Yeah, they'll
Okay.
be.
so we're at this table, zoning and architecture is in one spot.
They know,
They can be wherever,
They can
and
be
then,
scattered around.
and how many people are coming from their team, from the Grays?
I have no
team?
idea.
There's 60 wires.
No, maybe Sorry, it's coming.
And Tony
And
Pascal
Tony
is
Pascal.
their attorney.
Yeah, so those.
How about the guys, who are building?
What do you mean?
You mean the
The
construction?
Sag Harbor people. Yeah, who are they again?
The what?
Oh, wait a minute, was that this one? I'm getting mixed up. It was,
We don't know the construction.
I don't
All we
think
know
they've
is
even
that David
hired a
Curry,
contractor yet.
who is,
or he's the architect, I guess.
They have an architect and a project manager.
Mhm.
It's the same project manager as who was project manager for the house here, which was a massive project.
it's Fulton and Associates, that's who David Curry works for.
How can
No.
Tony Pasca be their lawyer and our lawyer?
What?
Well, that, he
Um,
disclosed
Tony
that,
Pascal?
yeah.
Yeah,
Tony Pascal was hired as special attorney to be on the Petrillo case.
okay, so
That's-
that's, well, I'm just, it just, my head was doing a
That
lot
question comes up all the time. You see an attorney who represents the village that appears on a project.
on one part.
It's unusual. It's not something that's a normal course. If it happened many times and it was adversarial, so to quote unquote adversarial to the village, you would not want it. But in this one case, as long as he discloses it, the conflict,
And there's such different
Company.
correct. It's
sides,
permissible
yeah, but it just all set my mind.
Yeah, no, that happens. That's a very good point to bring
There's
up.
no-
Okay, well, no,
Plans.
it's just a question, my head.
Yep.
People,
There's a lot on there.
have you met the people that
Yes.
presenting this? How flexible do you think they are? I mean, is this a dream from,
He just said
Out
they're used to
yonder?
getting what they want.
or is, yeah, well, that's what I wonder.
But when you
Uh,
Google
but
them, you can see
I've
their.
already told them no, they want something they wanted
Dream.
independently, because, I mean, they're not crazies,
Okay,
at all. I mean,
they're not the Goldens.
no,
Where are they from?
The city?
where are they originally from?
Yeah, like, or.
Well, I know they went to the University of Pennsylvania where they met and got married.
You can Google
If you know their name, you can. I don't know their name.
I am not at liberty to supply their names.
It was told to me that if the boards felt it important for her to be here, she will be here. She would prefer not to, but if you would like her to be here, she will be here.
How old are these people?
That's what I was told.
Uh,
50s.
Late 40s, early 50s, perhaps.
Somebody's gotta be here to represent them.
Oh, they will be.
Tony
Okay,
Pascal will
they
be
will.
here. David Curry, their project manager, will be here.
Frank Greenwald is the architect. He may, but I don't
I
know.
kind of think
It's probably just gonna be those two.
I would think the architect should be here.
Well, these could, maybe here, I don't know.
Always love
It's, a lot of this is what they're gonna be doing, not just how they're gonna do it. And I don't want the board to force the applicant to appear in just in this informational meeting. If, when it gets down to brass tacks of what, in order to get it through these boards, they're gonna have to change. But this is still conceptual. But if you want to hear from her, but I think all that she can say and all she said to me in the 2 meetings that I had with her is perfectly expressed in this letter and in this mission statement of what their
I'm sure it's not-
vision is.
Everything is not going to be accomplished in one meeting.
Yeah,
No,
this is just the first look. This is just the first look.
This is to get the
If she-
ball rolling.
Is uncomfortable of how it appeared.
Yeah,
I mean,
this isn't the one. This isn't the
let's see where we go next.
I've gone into much more detail here with you guys than I plan to go into at this meeting. But
That's okay.
I just want you to understand, this is going to have to be carefully sequenced among the boards. And whatever decision is made, is going to be made long after I'm gone. Post office, they have been discussing with the post office, getting a FEMA trailer to be a temporary home for the post office. In the year, it probably will have to be outside of the building.
How
Maybe
long-
more, you know.
How
down the
long may
street.
this take?
3 years.
That depends on us.
How fast we
And
go.
by us, I mean,
Our three
we
boards.
got 3 boards. And to complete the whole project, they look like they're fairly efficient builders and so forth. I don't think it'll take more than 2 years, and I don't think it may take more than a year to get the post office back into the building. The reason they have to move is they're
Moving the building back.
well, whether they move it back or not, it's gonna have to be raised up, and
The
the
basement.
entire basement has to be replaced.
And if they move.
Well, right, in a way, it's gonna be easier if they move than if they stay where they are. And the main structure can be saved. That's why they opened everything up. It's actually in pretty good shape.
Should some of the new
Basic
houses.
armature. But so no, all I'm going to talk about is the sequencing and what some of the key issues will look like that the boards are going to have to wrestle with. And then leave it at that. And I will talk to Tony about his participation, if he can do it. And I will talk to, after this meeting, I will talk to Tom White about, he's got to mobilize that board, not.
He's in charge of it?
Well, no, he's
Architecture.
he's the chairman of the AHRB. and that we need as soon as possible. When's their next meeting, Ronnie?
May 23rd, May 23rd.
Or at that meeting, I'm gonna want this as a discussion item on the agenda.
Okay.
Again, as a discussion item, but where they sound out the board. And the and then we can tell their representatives, they need people there who can answer the question as to why they believe it's desirable, or why they feel they have to move the building back, and why they feel they have to have this storage space for Merrill's collection. I mean, the other things, I've seen the AHRB over the past 15 years, and you know, there's some times you have to let go of the historical portion of a building, particularly if it's not visible from the public rights of way, and may not be salvageable for, you know, that's what we had to do with the, what was it, the Slaves house.
That went completely out of the village. They moved that to Jack Harbor.
The one right here?
No, the window was
one
over
opposite
on
you?
Parsons.
Parsonage near you.
Or Michael
79.
Davis built that
Yeah.
Oh.
huge house.
Yeah. Cooper's.
So that's what I think it's important that people come to or attend this meeting just to get a sense of what you're dealing with and who we're going to be dealing with. And to answer any questions you may have about the plans. These are not that easy to comprehend in terms of some of the stuff, unless you've got really good eyes.
Well, it's also hard. I mean, we got them via internet. It's always harder to see it that way.
Yeah,
There are
well, these,
copies.
even on these bigger.
Well, I'll
ones.
tell you, it's a lot easier than this Ellen Pokovic or whoever she
Well,
is.
that is indecipherable.
That one was. I agree.
And but, and to just get a mood of it. I don't know what the attendance is going to be. If we have more people coming here than we have, I want you to put down places on these seats for the various board members.
Is this open to the public?
Yes, it's an
Yeah,
advertisement. It has to be.
Absolutely has to be.
Oh, it has to be.
More chairs out there.
So be careful what you say.
Why does it have to be?
Yeah, I think you need to put the seats down because I'm sure it's among the other people are hearing about it. You should just sign seats so that the boards can actually see.
And then to be an advertised public meeting.
Oh, okay,
They can't participate with that, so
right,
it's no questions and answers.
okay, okay.
But I want you all to ask any questions that you want. If you don't understand what they want to do and what they're proposing.
There's no mention on the plans for outdoor seating in the back.
Yes, there is.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, I agree.
It's mentioned in that little mission statement.
Oh, in the
And it's
statement?
amended, and it's mentioned in the letter.
Okay, it's not on the plans.
No,
Nothing's
No.
mentioned on the
It's
plans.
a gravel area.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, gravel area,
It says gravel area, and then these two giant
opening doors, which I
opening
like.
doors. Well, it's to open up to I like them too.
I like the hurricane doors too.
Oh, the other thing, and that's something we are gonna have to discuss, is if you will note, these plans other than the handicapped entrance, which is now going to be about 20 or 30 feet further to the west, is there any provision for entry directly to the post office from Main Street?
I don't
There-
care.
Well, you seem to think I care.
Oh, no, I don't care if you care or not either.
I wasn't interested in what you thought. I was just trying to tell you, to explain and make sure everybody recognizes that
Yeah, I
they
understand.
have the only entrance to the post office from
From the outside.
accessible from the outside is through the store. I personally object to that.
No,
for
no, wait a
couple of
minute.
reasons.
Oh, there's only one entrance through the store?
No, there's a handicap on the side of the building.
And then if you want to go into the post office, just off the street, you have to go in through the store.
Or go up the handicap route?
Yes, that's what I
Yeah.
said. And I think everybody should believe that is problematic. I think that there should be an entrance access proximate to Main Street through the front door, not like going through a speakeasy to get into the post office. And
I
think
said
that
just use the ramp.
But you risk people wandering through with all these Amazon packages whacking into other people.
And also, what happens when the store is closed? And I know, I've only been here since '73, but there's been 6 different operators of the store. And at least 3 of them said, oh, we're always going to be open year round, 365 days a year. Well, they aren't. And they don't do that. They either close for the winter or they shorten the hours, etc. Why make it so difficult for people to get into the post office when the store is closed? And
That could be a problem. I agree.
Secondly, a lot of people who go into the post office don't or wouldn't like to, at least under its previous management, even go into the store.
You're forcing them to go through a
You're
shopping
making-
area.
You're making the post office a traffic
Honestly,
generator.
I don't see the problem, because you just go up the walkway, the ramp, and use that entrance if you don't want to go into the store.
And then you have to crawl all the way around to get to the post office. boxes.
20 more steps.
I think we should treat the post office as what it should
Separate
be
entity.
is, a prominent fixture of Main Street, not an adjunct of somebody's store.
I think they're also gonna have a lot of security problems when the post office is open and they're not, or vice versa. I think that might be a
Well, they
problem.
have a
I'm
security door that comes down.
But no, then they don't have 2 accesses.
I'm not even sure. that
There's
the
a
post
cellar
office-
way too, right?
But no, but the post office is required to have the handicap and an additional access. All public buildings are. So if the Sykes store was closed and you can only get out that one exit, that might not be.
I think there's a back door also.
But it's not accessible unless you're an employee,
Correct, but
So
that
that
would
might
be
be a
the
problem.
emergency situation.
where they crawl over the counter.
No, it's in a common area where the bathroom is and
No,
everything.
no, but to get to it, you have to crawl
I
over
think
the
you'd have a
counter.
fire problem.
But,
I'll have to look at that again.
and,
Not that we.
I don't know if
fire.
the post office really would agree to this anyway.
That's the thing. Yeah,
As you
I'm sure
recall,
gotta
they
understand
made now
this.
partition.
Yeah,
the
so they
partition
haven't
down.
asked
Dying for years to do.
post office people anything about this?
Pardon?
The architect didn't ask the postal service what things they need implemented to make it work as a post office?
I don't know, I think they.
I think
That's
the
a
federal-
question, right?
The federal government might have problems with access to federal mail from another business. That could be a problem.
Well, it used to be that way.
Well, we know that, but
And the post office.
think of all the
prohibited it.
Amazon packages they
And
could
Merrill
just
said, well, I'll lock the door. And they said, no, you've got to build a partition.
And they can't really ask
Stay tuned.
Yep.
our postal officials, that's more of a federal government.
This is. I
Security
think,
issue.
Above and
Beyond
beyond.
our
what-
people.
what-
When did we have,
They've been talking, they've been talking
when did we
up
go-
to operational types, not
when did we have?
policy types.
All you need is
I have this-
somebody's whatever missing and a lawsuit to the federal government. I'm just saying, I bet the mail has to be secure. You just can't have it.
Oh, it does have to be secure.
Yeah.
The
That's the federal
common area
offense,
that they
but-
have, that back door is going to have to be locked and closed.
It's an easy question. The postmaster's facility management group is gonna tell you what we can and cannot do.
Yeah,
Gonna be up to the post office, the postman, the postmaster.
Well, but I think even if they can do it, I don't think they should be doing it. But as I say, you all are going to be making the decisions, not me. So with that, do you have any questions for me on this process or suggestions or recommendations?
Interesting to hear what they say, and you brought up some good points about the.
No, I'm not going to raise those here at all.
When they do, we'll be ready.
Well, when we have to,
somebody's gonna raise
I
it.
mean, as I say, the first stop of this trip is the AHRB. And
Have they met
No,
separately with anybody like they did with you?
no,
No,
and
he's saying he's the fellow.
they, I had a thought, it's just disappeared.
Yeah. But I'm thinking.
But so we'll ask their opinion on it. But some of the lifts that are going to be posed to the AHRB, if they do allow them to move the building back,
I think it's a great idea.
they're going to eliminate what few parking spaces there were even there, which were about 3 cars for employees. That will be eliminated
Wait, where?
behind the store.
Oh, for the
All
store
the
employees.
employees of
Store.
postal department and
What,
the
they should
store.
just buy the Merrill Hildreth acreage and the barn and everything and be done with it. And they'll have
What?
plenty of space. Not for sale.
Well, they're trying to, as you'll see in there, that they, he confirmed that they have made an agreement. They're trying to get an additional easement area behind the store. You'll see it's on page, I don't know, 22 or 23 in your
Yeah, I saw that.
thing. To serve as the place where they're gonna put their septic system. They have to put in a new modern chemical septic system that requires, it's the ones that I saw when I did the tour of all the different models, require a lot of maintenance annually and filters change and lots of things that go wrong. And
We had to put in my homeowners association that in Florida. Environmentally, the entire Keys had to work their way slowly into the new system. It requires a lot of maintenance. There can be a lot of screw ups during a year, yeah. I mean, you just need one household doing
but so
something wrong.
Now, if it is possible that if they can get approval, if they construct it in a certain way, that they could park in that area, then that would solve a lot of problems, but I don't know if they can.
Where is all the parking gonna be available for all of the people coming in to make all these changes?
During construction, you mean?
Yes.
That's another issue that usually gets dealt with in the building permit process after all of these boards.
There's gonna be no
approved it.
place on site, at least until they pour the new foundation.
But if a FEMA trailer is up for the postal people and the community still needs to get their mail, you're right.
Well,
Where is
there's
the
no,
construction people?
I've been asking them to give me the dimensions. That's for 6 months. The dimensions of FEMA trailer that the post office apparently has, and where is the access and egress on it, so we could get an idea of where we could put it. You said.
Lockheim's driveway. You got 3 of them.
We have a front field. I mean, once we know how big it is, and if it's only accessible from the sides or whether it's accessible from the ends, we can at least try and scope out possible places to put it. None are optimal.
No, that's for sure.
But I'm pretty certain there is nowhere in the vicinity of the existing post office that we're gonna be able to put this trailer
Did you consider?
in the
this parking
immediate
lot?
vicinity. What?
Did you consider this parking lot?
Who's parking lot?
Right here.
Back of
Right
the,
here?
So that was-
I don't know.
if we had the measurement, maybe that discussion.
If
No.
we had the measurements, if we put it in a parking lot, where are people who come to the post office gonna park?
Well, it's, again, how big is it?
Well, that's why we need the
We could have them
dimensions.
down at the beach seasonally, off season.
We're talking probably a year.
Oh, yeah.
We could do it
Plenty of
down
parking
on the
down
beach
there.
parking lot.
Close down Matt
We can
Sagnay.
do it. There's a very large verge in front of the Foster farm on the side of Sagnay Street. Not a desirable place to have it. You'll have to be totally replanted when the thing was moved, but it's probably there. I don't know if
Getting a headache thinking of this.
No, the
Like,
White's
whoa.
field south of their farmhouse.
Yeah, where parking
This
is to go
one.
on.
There are, other places, there's a lot on South Point Land Foundation lot on the corner of Fifth Road Pond Lane and Hedges Lane that is just all overgrown with weeds. It's not being farmed. There are possible
The
places,
Christmas
but
tree farm.
The Christmas tree farm.
Christmas tree farm.
Goldman,
Women would love it.
Then we'd owe them some.
Well,
Yeah, we don't want to owe them anything. Oh, no.
well, in Peters Pond Lane, just block it off.
So you don't think it could fit in the east side across from where the post office is right now?
No, not, well, it depends.
Depends on the
If
size.
access were on the ends,
Yeah, but
maybe, but I
where
still
would you
think-
park the people that pull up?
And
That's
like,
the
how about electricity to it, I mean, and bathrooms,
Solar.
solar, oh, that's a good idea.
Well, it's a FEMA trailer, so it might have its self-process, like
might have a chemical.
chemical toilet, like RVs
You have
do.
to get, empty
Mhm.
two or three times a week. But all of these are subordinate questions.
Do these people have experience in doing things like this in
who-
the past,
These people,
the owners?
the owners have experience
They just call a guy.
in making money.
We have a guy.
Got it.
Good.
The wife has more experience in more human
Endeavors.
endeavors.
And they've done a major construction in their life in SAG before, so they do have some experience.
Who has?
The owners,
Oh,
and the builders. Excellent.
Oh, that, when, oh, Bill, when Long Island has been covered with water, and there is just nothing left here, scuba divers will be able to go down into that building and find it intact. There's more steel there than in most skyscrapers.
It was amazing to watch it being built from the beach, so, yeah. Crazy. So are we gonna
on
do
that note-
reports?
Yes, we'll go to reports. Go ahead.
There was no zoning board meeting this past Friday. That's that report.
Was there supposed to be?
There was no new,
It's supposed to be this Friday.
I'm sorry, it's next, yeah, this coming Friday.
Our
but
Friday meeting is instead of the,
Zoning that has no new cases, so, or proposals. Architecture happened April 25th. The committee had to approved one item, 416 Hedges Lane, which was just waiting for some small details from the previous meeting, so it went to the committee and once those details were put in place. 342 Town Line Road will be coming back again next month. They were previously asked to reduce glass. I know 100% glass is not how a building can exist, but some of the comments lend it that way, and only 2% was reduced, and the board was not comfortable with what they had seen at that point. So it's coming back. More and more modern buildings with so much glass are really giving Architecture and Historic Review Board a run for their money. 15 Jacobs Way was approved. They were on previously last month. Their new survey was submitted. The driveway went down from 2 cuts to 1 cut, and they reduced all of the first floor windows in height. 544 Hedges Lane. Light in some of the sections were reduced a third, which is a sizable reduction. It was approved with I'm losing the word, that the barn doors must remain in the future because that affects how the lighting functions. So a new owner would have to keep the barn doors. What is it? You carry it over.
A condition.
A conditional.
Yeah.
And 565 Daniels Lane was adjourned to next month. The board very seriously couldn't understand why they needed the gates, and the gates for the driveway gates weren't even set back in the proper location for what the board would normally want to discuss. 44, I'm sorry, Greenleaf Lane, just for our reference, was Joy Seeker's home. That's adjourned to next month. The people doing the renovation need to bring samples and look at a variety of items that the board brought up to them. So that's coming
Can I
back.
ask a question about that?
Sure.
I didn't know tennis courts were allowed in a front yard.
That surprised me too, but they got the permit for the tennis court and it was put in prior to this meeting. So that happened not on any of our boards in the
Oh, yes, it did.
Yeah, it's in. I thought it was in. Or maybe the pictures I were looking at were
It is.
computerized.
I think it is in.
I think it's
But
in.
I don't know if it had a permit.
It wasn't in when they sold it.
No.
No, but when they came to the board this past 2 weeks ago, it's in.
But I don't,
In the picture.
I don't know if
They
they,
have a building permit for it. They put it in for the tennis court and the pool. They've got 3 different building permits on this
but
particular.
why is the
property.
tennis courts allowed in the front
It's not
yard?
allowed in the front yard. It's a
Well, it is in
setback.
the front
Well,
yard.
it's a setback, Don. It's called required front yard. So John would not have given him a building permit to put it in the required front yard because we do not allow them in the required front yard. So it may be set back and the house seems to be set back further. I'm just pulling it up here, but there's no way John would have given them.
I think the problem
These people
too
would not have
is
gotten it.
visually, they did so much
Yeah.
clearing of
Yes.
the property that you see this tennis court outright now. I think that's what's surprising,
It is
in addition to.
much
that.
closer to the street than the house.
And
That's
the house,
correct. You are correct.
Still, I assure you, John would not have given them a building permit to plop a tennis court in the required front yard.
Is it a flag lot?
No,
No.
I mean, isn't a front lot the entire length of the front, front
The
lot
house.
setback?
It's a house line, yep.
But it's also in an R80 over there.
It's 3 acres,
So the
More.
setback,
maybe more. Yeah.
I think R80 is the same as, so it's gotta be 90 feet for the accessory structure.
Or no,
Yeah.
this is sunken.
Exactly, but it's still, you can't place an accessory structure in the required front yard. And a front yard setback for an accessory structure is 90 feet, and then, I'm pretty sure, it's in an R120, and I think the R80 is the same. So you can't place an accessory structure within 90 feet of the front lot line. That's the required front yard.
Well, it could visually, Don, look closer because all the planting is.
I just saw rendering.
Yeah. Anyway, that's coming back next month. And then the last item was 778 Sag Main, which is the Dr. Stock property. And it was in reference to some tweaking to the new building, the new home in the back. 1 foot on one side, 2 feet on a different side, and that was the reason why they had to come back, because they didn't figure some kind of insulation within the building, and hence they needed to come back to get that extra. They're still within their square footage and all that stuff.
Is the front house gonna be torn down?
Yes, and they have all the bales out and they have a construction driveway. It looks like they're ready to roll, but they haven't done it.
I thought they were just moving it over.
They're rebuilding altogether.
No,
In the front 778?
they're tearing down the.
Yes.
Yes, it's going down and it's being rebuilt in kind
A little bit further.
toward Tony Manheim. To the left.
And
So
then
What are they calling that?
that
A
demolition,
pool house or something?
It will be an
Office.
accessory structure as a home office for him.
well, why can't they just keep the building?
And move it over.
Because it's not architecturally
Sound.
dirty.
Sturdy to do
Structurally
it.
sturdy. And that approval was given to the previous.
Quite a while ago.
But,
The demo,
but
yeah.
that's so strange, because the applicant's biggest argument for their house in the rear of the stock
Keep
house,
the front.
is that you wouldn't see it because it's behind the stock house. Well, now they made it more visible.
They're keeping
This was all approved by the Architecture and Historic Review Board, the placement of the new structure, the rebuilt front structure.
It was approved in November, according to my note. I didn't have the date of the meeting, but it was approved in November.
Oh, no, I know.
Yeah.
I just said it was ironic that they're moving what they claimed would be the screen of their new house.
And Tony Manheim actually bopped in the meeting and said he approved of it. Which,
He's in love with them.
well, he normally doesn't come to
That's
meetings.
lucky for them.
He's been lucky. So that was all I had to say. The only other quick thing I wanted to say that's not in my domain, but we need to trim Sag Bridge. Before, and we're at the beginning of the growing season, this would be the perfect time to control
The ragweed.
the ragweed and the undergrowth and the other things that are, and also developed a tree on the bridge. It's probably not a good tree, but that's grown over the last.
Is it on the east or the west side? The tree,
West side.
West.
that's been cut down before, I think,
Maybe it needs.
grown again.
Anyway, we have some kind of, not a good tree, but a funny tree. But anyway, I just thought it would be the perfect time of the season to get it before it gets all greened up and.
Can you get JR on
Yeah, he goes and gets Dean's hacker upper and goes and hacks it, because all the bamboo's down there too.
Yeah, the bamboo creeps back.
Oh,
in.
we're gonna have to look at hacked up stuff.
I don't mean that, it's just
No,
bamboo.
because the
is like-
town did
yeah.
come and hack up the stuff down by White Walls one year. Did you see
yeah,
that? Oh my
because they-
God.
They don't do anything other than take a machine that's just goes down.
Yeah, I know, it's
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
terrible.
So anyway, that's
JR
all I
does
have
it
to
a
say.
little more nicely, but the bamboo is so tough, you have to go in there with
Okay.
heavy machinery.
Well, if he could do it before things start getting thicker, I mean, before the total growth season, that would be great. Okay, I'm done.
I was wondering where the tennis court on Joy's lot was. I'm looking at the aerial.
Well, it's not here, it's right here.
Also, there are no bushes in front anymore either.
Oh, that's really close to the road then. 'cause
Well,
the-
it must maybe 90 feet, I can't estimate. that.
It could look closer
Putting in
without the
turnaround
bushes
driveway.
going too. You know, like normally you couldn't see
Well,
it.
is it closer to the garage than to the house?
Yeah. I thought the garage was behind the house. No?
Well, there's another garage.
He was in the size of a baby deer, right? I should have caught one.
Oh, barbers and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Bill-
put in the creek.
Area.
Karen,
That stuff.
do you have any more info?
No.
Who's next in line? Bill,
Hedges should be done today, I would think. They're putting the white lines down. And there's still some problems, and it's not our construction on dams. There's still washouts and stuff where trucks are pulling off on the nicely placed drainage fabrics and stuff. But I don't know how to stop it, other than putting a bunch of, stakes down there.
The construction site
Yeah.
that's parking on Daniels right now is parking on those grass things.
Yeah, yeah.
The fabric they put down in the sprayed stuff.
But they did a nice job. other than that, on Hedges.
There's a good 10 every morning and.
Where's it at?
It's opposite, it's not Potato Road, it's the one before that, that private road.
Pheasant.
Might be Pheasant.
Well, Suffolk County Water Authority was just down there putting a main down Pheasant. And we know those trucks were there because Jim saw
Well, they were
them,
huge.
and he
Yeah.
told them.
Well, they've
they
done
have to
some
restore
major
it, yeah.
damage.
Now, they're gonna have to redo all that.
Jim did, Jim told me about that.
Okay.
And spoke to them and they are
Yeah.
going to.
And they're early morning, and they are not, because if I'm doing an East Hampton walk day, I'm in the car by 6:10, 6:15, heading that way to meet my friend. They're already there.
Well, what's the story with all the rocks on Town Line down by the restaurant? With that,
A big house there.
yeah,
Oh, that's the culvert. In front of the 802 town line,
I guess so.
it's all lined.
It's all
Yeah,
front.
they lined it with, yeah.
It's to
Site
keep the
plan.
water off the
That was the site
road,
plan.
that was part of the site plan.
It was the whole
The
side,
rocks were
the
part of
whole
it.
north side of it too.
You probably didn't need the rocks.
Well, years ago, there was a ditch, but I think when he cleaned up the front, we never saw where the ditch was. Now we see.
And the ditch didn't have stones in it.
No,
No, that's
No.
true, but if you see
No,
the
they
water
did.
fly off that field through that
I
property.
know.
And it goes on the north side and the engineer's plans, the site plan that was approved by the engineers, by this board. That's the plans. No parking on the edge of that road there.
No, that's for sure.
well, we might find someone in there one night.
He'll be there in the morning.
It probably is.
Could be. They leave town line barbecue, they just head south, but
Mary,
That's all I have, but I do have a question. What's happening with Kenny Schwenk's property?
He's waiting for the health
Waiting for
department.
help.
Oh, we're still waiting, okay.
Marilyn, do you have any report today?
So the only, I was participated in a meeting about the health, about Sag Pond and letting it out. So I don't have my notes with me and we still have to, do more research, but I'll tell the specifics next week. 'Cause I
Okay.
can't remember.
Anybody else have anything?
Do you want me to do a motion to adjourn?
Someone should.
Okay, I'll do it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
See you on
See you
Friday.
on Friday.
See you on Friday.